I have my trusty hammer.
I have my lucky me.
Gillian has her army of cats. Once again, thank you all for joining us for Final Fantasy Crystal Legend, an original Pathfinder adventure inspired strongly on the lore of the Final Fantasy series. I am your host. I am Neil at theLimitBreak. I am your dungeon master for this adventure, and I am joined once again by my very good friends, Mihgo in your top right-hand corner, Mithra, White Mage, and servant to Alexander, the God of Valor. In the bottom left-hand corner, Captain Montigue, the swashbuckling red mage Selkie, and in the bottom right-hand corner, our Half-Guado Dark Knight, Gillian Guado, from the city of Burmecia. When we last saw our heroes, they were investigating a mystery of a stolen minecart that had been taken to the Xilianr mines, or had been stolen from the Xilianr mines, by what had been originally thought to be goblins that turned out to be demons, little imps. They dispatched the group of imps, and as they were leaving, they went to investigate Skwrl tunnel. They had sensed a very strong magical aura from inside, deep in the mine, that went away as they went towards the entrance, and noticed that there were things with the gate. There were runes and all kinds of weird, confusing magics that were happening when they were getting too close, and lost for direction. Mihgo decides to take the group to City Hall in an attempt to figure out who gave this missive out in the first place. So we begin our quest as the sun rises on a new day, first thing in the morning, for episode 5, Red Tape.
It's a new day. Mm-hmm. It's a new dawn.
So here we are. Yeah.
It's a new day.
It's a new dawn. It's a new life for me.
No,
and I'm feeling good. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I was actually, hit the chord strike, get some pancakes and some unicorn regalia. Don't be sour.
So it's first thing in the morning. Tell me about your first thing in the morning stratagems.
Well, first thing in the morning, I think it goes without saying, but I'll say it anyways. Mihgo will go on up to the prepare all of her vestments and stuff like this and go to the temple. And she will spend her time praying and communicating with Alexander and asking for her blessings and discussing everything that's happened. Of course, spending a little bit of extra time to pray for protection, as we've recently encountered imps, and or at least she fears great evil things are afoot. So she's, probably really freaking out about that, and is prepping her spells for that day. And then, of course, after that, she's going to head right out into the street. And realize that the sun has barely come up and her teammates are probably still snoring.
Montague's actually going to wake up early, but he's not going to leave his room. He's basically studying his spells, trying to figure out what he's going to need for this adventure. He's actually putting in some homework.
Wow. That's not something.
The hangover was not that heavy today.
No, it wasn't.
Dark Knights have a very simple waking schedule, especially when they're a Guado from Burmecia. It is shower, coffee, sit and wait for the rest of the team to actually show up.
Well, I think that what Key, of course, is going to want to do, and is very excited, is to head right on down to Central Hall, City Hall,
okay,
and immediately try to find out what's going on.
Are you doing this alone? Or?
No, I figured we all had met up. I believe.
Okay.
I think that's what we discussed ahead of time.
Yes.
Is Key very confused?
No, Kay just sometimes goes without it. We just want to know if you might let us know before you went.
Yeah, no, sorry. So no, I returned back to the house to meet up with everyone, and of course, am bright-eyed and not really bushy-tailed. Key's not one who has a big fluffy tail. She has more of a lithe tail, but it's on a lash like a serpent, ready to go.
Great. All right. Well, you head out of the residential district and out towards the main marketplace. City Hall is in the Bastoke Markets on Main Street, and it is easily the largest building in the entire town. Not even close. Well, the only other place that would be even remotely close is actually just next door to it. It's sort of at the figurehead of the street. And then across from it is a big sort of warehouse called the Hammerhead, which is where you might remember your friend Andello is employed. As you walk down the street, and it's just an average everyday morning. Nothing seems to be out of place. Everything is exactly how you normally see it. You get to the front door of City Hall, and there is a little bit of a minor sort of, not a commotion, but you're hearing the rise in volume of chatter and general talking. And as you open the front doors, the big double doors to the building, it opens up into a wide network of desks and people standing in lines, and it's just it's a knot. It's Christmas lights. It's just Christmas lights of people standing around in lines, with some with tickets, some with paperwork, some with folders, and they're of all races and creeds and all manners of people. There is a desk immediately in front of you, but there are 5 other desks in this room, besides the one that's directly in front. Each one with a line probably about 15 to 20 people deep. And there are doors that are leading into sort of adjacent rooms that are open. The doors are open, and you can see sort of a congregation of people behind many of each of these doors. There's also a staircase that leads up off to your right, and that is closed off with like a velvet rope kind of situation. There is, and just anywhere you look there's people maneuvering and moving and standing in line and just generally, it's like the Department of Motor Vehicles is what I'm trying to paint the picture. That's the picture I'm trying to paint for you. You're at the DMV. What would you like to do first?
So normally, Key, being very or more or less knowledgeable in bureaucracy, ability, and all these other things, is the kind of cat who knows to follow the signs. You gotta follow the signs. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look to see where exactly the DMV is, at least, or the bureaucrat place is specifically trying to drive us.
Well, the desk that is immediately in front of you is labeled information, and that is the only one with a wide open label. There are, if you walk around the area just sort of dodging people as they're muscling by you, there are a couple of other minor labels, but they're very confusing. One of them says mining licenses, another one says mining permits, and there are two desks that say building permits, and they look very similar, but clearly they are not the same.
Okay. So what I would like to do is I'd like to approach the information desk.
Well, there's about 15 people on queue in front of you.
Hey, I'm British. We're going to queue.
Well, I'm going to queue.
Okay. What would everybody else like to do?
Let's queue.
Standing in line.
All right.
This is the funnest game I've ever played.
Yeah.
I'm queued.
Yeah, this is DMV Simulator. Welcome to DMV Simulator.
Oh no.
There are people in front of you, and they are just sort of communicating with each other. It's just a pair of Humes, a male and a female. And they're just talking amongst themselves as you line up behind them. And you overhear the gentleman say to the woman, "I'm so glad that we got here as early as we did today. Last time, we got halfway through this process, and they closed and kicked us out." And the woman says, "Yes, I think it's best that we try to move along as swiftly as possible." And the gentleman says, I don't know if there's anything we could possibly do about that. This line's always takes so long. About 20 minutes goes by, and you finally get to the front of the queue, and the person behind the counter is a Hume gentleman. Just marking down which Hume gentleman that is, and he says, "Good morning. Welcome to City Hall. How may we be of service to you today?"
So
Before Key does anything,
Okay.
I am going to cast Enhanced Diplomacy on her.
So that puts my diplomacy up to +9.
Excellent.
Turns out, that's actually my most ranked skill is diplomacy.
Amazing. It's almost like I looked at your character sheets and built challenges that you guys were prepared for.
So, just to take a look, I rolled a 29.
You rolled
I
a
got
20. Yeah.
critical success.
Whoa.
So I lean into the desk and I put on a smile that even a Cheshire cat would really be jealous of.
Yeah.
Masking my fangs and just really settling into that heavenly aura of compassion and love. And I look to this Hume and I'm, "Dear sir, I thank you so much for your service and all of your time here. We are adventurers who have completed a great quest on behest of this, but there are deep complications that are going to shatter." I kind of lean in and speak softly, that are going to really shatter or can possibly shatter the nature of Basokian mining. There are great concerns for this. And I don't mean to cause alarm or make troubles, but I will need to, with great haste and organization, go to speak directly to the report of whom settles these requests, and I provide all of the paperwork which I've magically provided in advance. No, I don't even know. I don't know how a 20 rolls out on diplomacy against DMV info desk employee. But I will let you know I come heavy and I come hard with, "I need to speak with your manager."
Well, with a 20, I wasn't intending to do this, but with a 20. So the assumption, of course, is that you do have your missive with you, the original one that was in your pocket, obviously.
Yes.
And you can,
I never returned that.
Yeah, you can present that to this gentleman. So he's gonna take a look at the missive, and he's gonna look up at Key, and his look, which was normally sort of uninterested and kind of blank, softens as he's looking at Key and says, "Oh, I see. So you're in the Wild Rose, huh? So, I mean, is that fun?
Okay. Key is not naive to these things, so I'm going to lean into the desk a little bit in that kind of way where I'm showing stuff. you know. And I'm like, oh, it's such an honor and privilege to be able to serve the community and really help the town of Bastoke, just like you're able to help serve and really bring greatness to your community as well. And I'm laying in with the charms about as much as, well, a charisma 16 Mithra can lay in.
Oh yeah. Oh, and he's buying this hook, line, and sinker. He's all kinds of interested, and he's sort of flirting with you back, and he's just sort of he's flirting with you in his comebacks, and he's just saying things like, well, maybe I should stop by the Wild Rose sometime and see if you guys are busy at all or anything like that. Listen, about your missive, I'm supposed to send you away because you didn't bring the form with you. There's a form at another one of these desks that you're supposed to fill out. But here's the thing. I just so happens I have one of those forms back here behind this desk. Why don't I help you fill it out? We'll just pretend that you brought it up here, and we can expedite this for you. How does that sound? Let's fill this out. So he's got the form and he's filling it out, and it's just jargon. It's like legal mumbo jumbo, but he's running through it like he's just saying, yeah, I just need this initial here. This is just saying that you can't hold us legally responsible, blah blah blah. This is saying that, if you get kicked out of City Hall, that it's gonna, you can't sue us, blah blah blah. So he's just going through all of the nonsense, and he says, okay, now that you've got this, what I need you to do is you need to take this to the social services desk. Now, it's very important that you take this to social services and not malicious services. It's very easy to get the two confused. They are right next to each other. And you would think this might be malicious services because you guys are part of the militia, but you're not technically militia. It's a thing. So take this paperwork, go into the desk inside the eastmost room next to the staircase. That will be social services, and they will be able to direct you to determining who filled out this requisition.
So wait, sorry, out of character.
Yeah.
You said eastmost entrance.
The eastmost room, because there's several rooms that are adjacent out from the place, and you're kind of just at the front. It's not in this main room. It's off to the side in the room next to the staircase.
Okay. Sorry. I was jotting and then I couldn't keep up. Okay. So he gives me the paperwork. Mm-hmm. He tells us exactly where to go. And
yeah. So
I'm not above fawning just a little bit, because he is earnestly and honestly thankful for how much help he's been. And so, I take his hand in a prayer and I pray for him. Mm-hmm. I pray for him to Alexander with great thanks for all the service that he's done. And I let him know, if you ever want to find me or compassion, the Temple of Alexander will always be there for him.
Well, he thanks you, and he says, well, I hope that this is not the last time that we see each other, but I definitely hope that you are able to get to the bottom of who signed this missive out. I wish it was just as easy as pointing you to whoever the person's name is on the account, but I mean, the paperwork like this changes so many hands before it gets to you. There's no way to just immediately tie it back. So with that, you are. Do you have any other questions for me? Is there any other way that I can help you?
Whisper, is there any way to get through the queues quicker?
And so I'm like, so I do the ear flicky, and I was like, well, my friend the captain is concerned about the queues and the time that it's going to take. Do you think that we're going to be queued for long?
Well, I don't think that there's anything I can really do to help you with the queue. I wouldn't want to make everybody else in the line mad at me.
So Key actually accepts this answer because again, she's super LG on this one.
Mhm.
So she's like, I would never ask you, such a friendly, kind soul, to bring such a burden upon yourself and others. And I really truly hope we see that our path cross again and soon. And then of course I'm going to bow politely and skip. It's like a happy kitty off to where we have been sent.
Excellent. So the other desks, you've managed to walk beyond, out away from the information and away from the other desks, and there is a room with the door open. It's unlabeled. The room is unlabeled. But as you walk in, there is another desk there, and another sort of spiraling line of people that are just kind of hanging out, and they're looking for various social services. Something interesting catches the eye of Gillian in this room. The person standing behind the desk that is helping the customers is a male Guado, and you do not see many of those. This is the first Guado that you've seen since leaving the Chaos Continent. First one who lives in town. So if you guys would like to enter queue on this, I can tick your timer forward just a little bit. You wait another 20 minutes or so in that line and have made it up to the front. This is social services desk with our male Guado, and he says, "Good morning. How may we help you?"
Do I need to sit and explain the whole thing again?
No.
Yeah. Well, and you have paperwork.
Yeah. So I have my paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
And
with my score of 21,
Mm-hmm.
I enter into my deep diplomacy and explain once again, here is all of my paperwork. Here's the missive that we were sent for. There are, while we have completed this quest and found this minecart, there are clear implications that I didn't want to go into, not to cause worry, but we're going to require some clarifications as well as, and I'm going to start kind of going through the whole how we need to go through and clarify this and work with some people and try to get form, blah, 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 blah. He's actually good at this whole bureaucracy thing.
All right.
And so she kind of gives the same splay down with this to this fine Guado gentleman who she is quite cordial to.
Okay. Well, you he's looking over the paperwork and hearing your story, and he's kind of giving eyes over to Gillian, but they are not nearly the same kind of friendly eyes that Key was receiving from the gentleman at the information desk. He is a little bit more, not adversarial, but perhaps not quite as friendly towards Gillian.
So
I would like, if I may,
to take you on a strange journey.
if I may, I'd like actually to take a roll of sense motive to see if, even while I'm busting out this diplomacy, if I can get a read on what's going on here.
You are... Well, here's the thing. I would say that you notice that he has got this bad motive situation, and I think Gillian would be able to tell you probably why. Gillian, do you want to mention it?
Out of character, I'll mention it, but in character, I'm just going to have a bit of a stiff jaw and be like, of course.
Okay, all right. So I'm actually just gonna try to catch the read on both of them.
You know that he doesn't like Gillian for some reason.
Okay, I get the hostility in the look for my sense motive.
Mm-hmm.
There's clearly he's not into that. I'm gonna do a little subtle shift to try to put myself just slightly more
In front of.
him
Mm-hmm.
and between myself and Gillian, like almost in that dismissive body language, like you don't need to pay attention to that back there.
Mm-hmm.
The you and me show. It's the you and me show right here.
Mm-hmm.
Is that another diplomacy?
Yeah,
or is that...
I guess give me another diplomacy check is probably where it would land.
Ooh,
Yeah, not quite as
luckily
good.
my score saved that, but it's still
Right. Well, it's
Yeah.
he's now feeling a little bit. Well, he's not really embarrassed. He's a Guado. He's he's noticed that you've noticed, and so he's not necessarily being coy about it. And he says, "Look, this paperwork is all filled out just fine, and I will be able to find out who made this missive for you. We can research it, and I can have it in your mailbox within the week."
I'm gonna kind of move Key to the side and cast hidden diplomacy on him.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Listen, is there any way you can get it to us sooner?
So, with your spell casting of the hidden diplomacy, is there any way you can get it to him sooner? He says, "Well, I suppose I could expedite it. You seem like a nice guy, and you seem like a nice cat, and I would like to help you too. So let us see what we can work out."
how out of character. Shame.
You glad the Dark Knight has self-control?
Wow. So he calls over a Guado. No, not a Guado. Excuse me, a Galka. He is the Guado. He calls over a Galka, and he takes your paperwork and he gives it to the Galka, and he tells him to meet up with to do some research with a couple of the other people who are in the back area that are not accessible by employees, the employees only area. And he says, "Why don't you have a seat? We'll work on this right now, and we can have it to you within probably an hour." Does that sound okay?
That sounds delightful. I wouldn't want to spend more of your time than necessary,
Mm-hmm.
and spend all this time. I guess I try to on the slide just be like, I'd hate for us to have to loiter around here.
Mm-hmm. So with the hidden diplomacy spell, because he also wants to help out now, that's kind of his thing, is that he says, "There's one more form you're going to have to fill out. Here's a clipboard, here's a pen. Why don't you go ahead and sit down at one of these many seats, and you can fill it out, and this will allow us to release the information to you once we discover it."
I am going to take that paperwork, and I am going to pour over it like it is a holy writ.
Well, I am glad that you are going to do so. So you take a seat at one of the many seating stations. There are people sitting around just kind of talking to themselves and occupying their time, many of them filling out paperwork. And in order for you to fill out this paperwork, we need to do a couple of things. So I would like for one of you to perform a spellcraft check, please.
Well, actually, I was wondering if I could do something a little you didn't expect.
I would love for you to do something I didn't expect.
Well, so in speaking with Alexander this morning, I knew that great diplomacy was ahead of us.
Yeah.
And something that really helped me in a lot of my noble pursuits was the comprehend languages spell.
Okay.
And I feel that comprehend language allows me to comprehend all spoken and written languages, including many forms of legalese.
Well, I don't see the including many forms of legalese on the spell chart, but
it says all spoken and written languages, and I Legalese counts.
Okay. You know what? I would be willing. So I'll tell you what. If you want to do that, I'm still going to want my spellcraft check, but I want to give you a +5 bonus to it. How does that sound?
Okay. So I'm going to cast comprehend languages on myself to allow me to decipher all written languages.
So give me +5 on top of whatever pluses you already have.
And so
I'm gonna say I have a +8 on my spellcraft to begin with. If you want to cast that on me.
so I get a 19 +7 on that
Okay.
yeah, because I have a 2. That's weird how I don't get all of my bonuses because it's a checked skill.
Yeah,
whatever.
That's a weird thing on the sheet. I see what you're talking about, though. That's fine. The +7 is good.
Yeah.
Great. So yes, your comprehend languages skill is helping out, is paying its dividends on this sheet. This is a legalese bit of nonsense, and there's also a little bit of. I was going to have you roll a linguistics check as well at some point, but we'll have you bypass that.
That's a +6. If you still want me to roll that, I can come at that too.
No, I think that the comprehend languages is enough to support both skill rolls.
Yes.
So you're able to fill out this document, and this is great because this is exactly what you as the what was your title again?
Administrator.
The administrator. This is exactly what you as the administrator have been hired to do here. For the Wild Rose. This is like your gimmick. So that you are taking to it is making me happy inside.
Out in the meta, well, since we're telling meta, he is of noble descent.
That's true.
And so Key is of doing paperwork and living in sort of these bounds. This is maybe not what she wants to do with her life, but it's skills she has been trained in.
So you fill out this paperwork, and it's a lot of waiting. It's a long wait, sitting down. It is close to about an hour, as they had suggested that it would be. But at some point, the giant Galka comes back into the room and speaks with the Guado, who waves you back over. And as you give him the paperwork, he's able to release to you a document sourcing the information. He says the original person who chartered this document works in the science department here in City Hall in the science office, and I can send you over to him immediately. I just was curious, are you interested in starting any trouble with this gentleman?
Oh, no. No, we are actually just trying to procure more information about our missive. It seems there may have been some omissions, and we just wanted to get this all cleared up so that we can actually complete this missive as to the intent of the letter, or to the letter of intent.
Could you be convinced to be hostile with this gentleman? And when he says that, the Galka sort of like bumps him, and the Guado is like, okay, just a thought. So you're gonna want to meet with him. He's in the back hallway. If you just go back into the main room and turn to your right and go all the way down the hall through the long hallway where the restrooms are, and in the very back you'll find his study. His name is Mid, and just try to not get too upset.
So I'm going to do a little exploratory questioning.
Okay.
And be like, listen, if there's anything that you can provide to help me on my path to better provide for the people of Bastoke, I will appreciate any candid knowledge or gifts of the noble diplomacy of Bastoke.
Lady, if I knew how to deal with Mid any better than I already do, yeah.
I'm going to give him a thumbs up at that.
Yeah. You're on your own.
All right.
So you make your way back through the main room into this small sort of hallway where the restrooms are, where they said, and there is one door that just leads open. It is closed, but it's unlocked. You're able to just walk right in. And when you walk into this area, it's a narrow space, but it's very long, like a big long hallway, and looks like a library. It's like records. But it's books and shelves of papers and books and documents and files and all kinds of jazz like that. And it is a mess. It's just a nightmare. There are no people in this room save one gentleman. He is an unimpressive, small-looking human who is wearing robes. He's got, in fact, because this is a character from the Final Fantasy series, let me just go ahead and bring up a picture of what Mid looks like, because he is a real person. And he looks like so. That is, of course, the Amano art. But he's wearing long blue robes. He's not as young as he looks in that picture. He's probably in his 40s at least, maybe. Mid to late 40s. And he is completely engrossed in one book while simultaneously writing down in another book. And he is also turning the pages of a third book and just kind of going back and forth reading these documents.
So Key storms into this room with command.
Mm-hmm.
With command. Now I'm going to take a glance around the room, and I'd love to see if there is a device of timekeeping visible anywhere.
There is, and you've been here a couple hours, but it's you still have plenty of time before the building closes.
Okay. So, since Mid is completely engrossed in multiple studies,
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he's not going to hear me summoning the command blessing.
The command blessing. That's interesting.
Okay, then I'm going to use one word because that's all I need. So I am going to come up and I'm going to put a command spell right upon him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to slide the missive right into his eye line and say, explain. And there is and I don't just use a command spell.
Mm-hmm.
I speak a command spell, and I use a tone of demandment.
So you give this explain, and you put the sheet down in front of him. And when you put the sheet over the book that he's reading, he stops and looks up and says, "Yeah, don't sneak up on a person like that. Announce yourself when you come into a room. Goodness gracious. Oh. Okay. So, first things first. Young lady, if I were the sort of gentleman who would fall for such an elementary use of magic, I would not have the position that I hold today. You have clearly no idea the person you are speaking to. And I have half a mind right now to allow magic to be my first impression. And you're not going to like when magic is my first impression. So, let's try this again. Hello, my name is Mid. Why are you in my office?
So, since my strategy has failed,
That spell gets a saving throw.
yeah, it does. I decide to go with his tactic. If I cannot get my way, we will do this his way. So I give a formal and proper curtsy. I am Key Mihgo, High Priestess of Alexandra. And basically, I've got like an 8-mile long title to share, which of course ends with and also higher of the White Rose. And I have been sent here due to some errors and issues with the following missive of this task of to find the missing minecart, unto which we have found a minecart which was not missing, with no goblins to be found, and nothing but imps and an unhorrible, unspeakable evil power waiting to devour us all.
Mid grabs the document and says, yeah, I filled this out. So the minecart wasn't missing, it was stolen. I imagine you guys found it then?
Yes, by the mine.
Excellent. Was it still full of my sand?
No, there was no sand and no message of sand in this missive.
Okay. That is fine. It's a little annoying, but fine. Let me take a wild guess. This evil that you're speaking of, these goblins were not goblins. They were, in fact, demons polymorphed themselves into goblins. What, to make things crazy for you?
Oh, yes, sir.
No.
I was worried that that might be the case. I mean, I knew I was right, because I'm always right. But I hate it when I'm right sometimes. Crap. Okay, so that means that the demons that have been wandering Skwrl have made their way up to Gusterberg and have now made their way up to Bastoke. Do you know anything about these demons?
They're gone.
That's a good start. I like that. Okay. Are you aware that there has been a rise in demonic activity in the Skwrl continent for the past 7 years or so?
I'm going to kind of do like the fur bottle brush thing
Mm-hmm.
because I don't like hearing that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just going to kind of shake my head.
Okay. It's been a problem for various towns in the region. None of us can figure out why they are here or exactly where they're coming from. I had an idea on one place, well, a couple of places where they might be coming from. One of them was up in the Chaos Continent, and I hired the services of the Wild Rose to go up and take a look, and that party had the unpleasant reaction of dying before I was able to get my information.
Hold on. Dying isn't an unpleasant reaction. It's death.
Well, I mean, it's unpleasant for my studies. That big Rogadin woman in the armor, she lived, but everybody else died. So here's what I'm thinking. You guys seem to enjoy killing demons. How would you like to kill more demons?
I'm going to take a moment to take a deep breath and center myself and thank Alexander for the strength and protection against hostilities and just kind of heal my soul for a moment. And after I've healed my soul for a moment, I'm going to pop my wide eyes open. I'm going to look Mid directly in the eyes, and I'm going to go, we are here to protect the people and do great things. If stopping the flood of corruption across Skwrl is what is required of us, we will rise to the challenge and we will succeed. However, we do need to talk about this great, overwhelming evil power kind of hanging out just in a cave, just inside of Bastoke. That's kind of a thing, isn't it?
What are you babbling about?
Great black darkness behind a gate.
Evil, pure evil.
Listen, I was in that cave not long ago. That's why I knew that there were demons in there. I was attacked while I was collecting my sand. It's an alchemical reagent used to stop confusion magic. I have been in that mine many times. I have detected magic in that mine. I have detected evil in that mine. And not to put too fine a point on it, I am a scholar of all forms of magic, and my scholarly wizardry is more powerful than both of yours combined. So, there's nothing in that cave. But I'll tell you what, if you want to get yourself killed, I can help you with that. If you want to help me with the imps.
I'm going to once again pray to Alexander for healing upon my soul. And
I'm actually going to bow my head this time.
I'm sure that someone of your ability and caliber would not be afraid of what's in that cave. And I'm very sure that you are the one who could properly assess what has been now uncovered in there.
No,
yeah,
I don't feel like it. But I'll tell you what. I can help you with that. Truth be told, my father lives in this town. My daughter lives in this town. I like to keep myself out of danger as much as possible. So here's what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting that I help you with your little cave problem, and then you travel to the Ronco ruins to investigate the swelling of imps. Now, this place is not as dangerous as the last place I sent to the Wild Rose. So maybe I just overestimated the abilities of the Wild Rose.
I'm gonna glance at my party mates and I'm gonna give the
I'm
nod.
just kind of visually mad, but not actually saying
Okay.
anything.
Right, but I'm kind of just, I give like the little nod and I give a glance because I'm kind of just looking for sign-offs.
Mm-hmm.
And so it looks like I get the sign-offs from my party member and I go, of course, Mid, in that order.
In that order. Mid raises up his hand, turns it, goes like this, and a book flies from the shelf directly to him, which he can grab and open up. And he can flick pages without touching them. He can just go like this, and it immediately starts flicking pages and stops exactly to where he wants it to be. And he reads some things down. He's reading some things down. He says, all right, we were having a conversation. I'm sorry. I was thinking of something else. Okay, you need to get past a gate. I can get you something to get past a gate. Alchemy. That's what we need. Alchemy is what we need. So he heads over to his alchemy station.
Wait. Why are we going past a gate? I thought we were looking for information on a gate. Not going past it. It looks like it's there to seal something.
I mean, maybe you'll get killed by inkstone, which would be a problem for, me.
And if we unleash one of the great horrors of Spyro in Bastoke, that also is going to be slightly inconvenient for you.
Okay, fine. I promise, if you unleash a horror unlike anything this world has ever seen before or will ever see in the future, I solemnly swear that I will run out into the street and help you contain the threat.
I'm going to look to my teammates for sign off on this one.
He goes first.
All right.
So he goes over to his alchemy station and whips up together a flask of a potion and sets it into 3 vials and gives each of you one of the vials. And he says, this is good for 2 uses. 1 getting in, 1 getting out. This is an old-fashioned spell that we haven't used in quite some time. It's a classic, original flavor. This is a spell of miniaturization. If you drink this, you will be approximately 6 inches tall for a very small amount of time, 5-10 minutes tops. Make sure that you're not anywhere where you can get stuck when you get full size again. But that should be enough
Wait.
for you to
How
get
big
in.
will this make me?
Oh, about the same. I mean, it's relative. It's relative. So yeah, I mean you should be able to get past any kind of gate that you're looking to get past. Yeah, but I wouldn't hang out in an area with a lot of inkstone for too much time. I've never been back there myself, but I understand it's pretty foul back there.
And so, before we leave your presence, tell us more about, should we return for our next task?
I don't care. But I'll tell you what. I'll tell you more about the Ronco ruins while you're here for now so that I can get back to work and you guys can just tell me how it turns out. The Ronco ruins is an old town, the old city of Ronco. It's a town of Ronco, really. It wasn't that big. It was a little hamlet that was overrun by beastmen a long time ago. And it's just been ruined, and there aren't any people living there now, to my knowledge. I understand there's some amount of monsters there, but we've been hearing that there have been demons, imps, and the like coming out from the Ronco ruins. It's plausible that whatever monsters are inside are summoning them from the other side and forcing them to come out into Spira. And you can do what you want with the demons. I don't really care. I'd love for them to be dead. But more than that, what I would like to know as a scholar is I want to know why there have been so many demons in the area. And that's a good place to start as any. That's as good a place to start as any. And if they're demons, it's likely that they are in service to some kind of deity. Just stands to reason. If you can figure out that deity, that would be awesome too, because then we can start to narrow this down. The Ronca Ruins is located in the Golmore Jungle, which is east of the city of Onrak, out by the coast. And in fact, if you have a map, I can mark on your map where it is located.
I signal to Captain Montigue because this is his thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna show him the map from the room.
Definitely, yeah. You should have on your map the Golmore Jungle, and he denotes where it is. It's northeast, just a little bit northeast of Onrak, out by the coast, in that big old haze of trees there you got on your map.
Okay, yeah, I see.
Yeah, so it's just he just marks a spot in that general vicinity, and that's where it's located. So okay, so that's everything. Please don't die, and write down whatever you find out, and you mail it to me, or come visit again. I'm gonna be reading.
We will visit again.
And again and again and again.
Well, that sounds fun for me. Okay. Well, that's all I've got.
Goodbye.
I'm going to give a proper curtsy and bow and then leave with the greatest of haste. Oh, the greatest of haste.
Excellent.
I am right on our tail.
I am going to navigate my way back out to the main area. And trying not to look like I want to raise this land from the earth, I am going to slide right past the info desk to see, and I'm kind of going to put a glance and see if my friend is still there.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he's there.
And if he's not too preoccupied, I'm going to kind of just give a little bit of a bow and putting on the best of faces. I'm going to go, we found Mid. I have to go and pray for a while. And then I'm going to depart
All right.
this building
Beautiful.
with my party in tow. And pray. I'm gonna pray for Mid.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pray for Mid a lot.
He's a character. I took some liberties. He doesn't act like that in Final Fantasy V. So,
I like it though. I like Mid though.
Oh, good.
I like Mid as a character out of character.
Oh, good.
Yes.
I'm gonna pray for him a lot, and then I'm going to try to repress all of my prayers for Mihgo to strike Mid.
I think we should regroup at the structure and figure out which of the two tasks we want to do first.
I am going to suggest amongst my teammates that we do such at the Wild Rose.
At the Wild Rose, okay. Great. So
Because there's someone I'd like to speak to.
Day.
I'd like to speak to Day Day.
Oh well. So you have made your way to 8 Phoenix Down Street, walking through the front door, and you see Junie and you see Kumaru, but you do not see Day Day. In fact, not only is she gone, but you remember. I mean, her desk is still there, but you
her armor is not.
That's right. You remember she's got that mannequin, and all of her armor and her sword and shield are all gone.
Oh no. Alexander, bring us strength.
We told her about the mine.
We did. So, as the talky one, I'm gonna go to Junie, and I'm gonna go, Junie. Hello.
Hey, it's so good to see you again, Key. What can I do for you?
Well, I will start by wondering where Day Day has gone.
Well, you came in the other day and mentioned that there were imps near the town, and that got Day Day a little bit. She was not pleased with that. That rattled her a little bit.
Right.
She regularly will volunteer for militia work. She goes out probably 1 week out of the month every month to just kind of do walk-arounds of the town as a sort of a volunteer militia. And she volunteered to start this week a little bit early because you had mentioned the demons.
I am elated to know that she is on the case, helping protect the town of Basto.
She's all about protection, that girl. She loves protecting.
I feel her on a deep spiritual level. However, on a deep spiritual level, we just finished talking to Mid.
Oh, yeah, I've interacted with him several times as the administrator here in the office. He's brash. His daughter's sweet. She's cute. Montague, you would like her. She's cute. Yeah. But yeah, what are you gonna do?
So this is his missive that we have been sent upon.
Okay.
He has given us a alchemy so that we may enter the cave of unbearable evil. And then he has requested of us to go to the Ronoko ruins and find the source of all of the demons and what drives them there.
That's not the one that's in the Chaos Continent, is it?
I look to Montague because I have no idea.
Doesn't look like the Chaos Continent. That's Spyra.
Okay, good. Oh.
I'm gonna pull out the map and be like, no, this one.
Okay. That's good. Derstrail, her party got sent up to the Chaos Continent, way up north, to investigate one of these ruins, and she was the only one who came back alive. And it terrified me. And after that, I told her, I said, I can't have you go out adventuring anymore. I just can't.
Yeah, Mid said something about a party that he sent out catching a case of the death.
She still is haunted by that.
Okay, so I'll remember to keep my tongue caught.
Please just be very careful if you go to one of these ruins.
We will not fail you, and we will not fail to return.
Okay.
Alexander protects us all. And then I turn to my party, stealing my gaze upon them, which I'm a cat. I mean, I kind of just dead face at people.
Yeah.
But I think I look pretty noble when I do it. But I'm not. Are you ready to explore to our doom?
Let's go check out that mine.
We'll gather up ourselves together and
Head to the cave.
yeah.
All right. So you make your way back through the mining district, walking along Mount Colts, the farthest edge of the Bastoken mine area, the last mine. At the end is the Xilianr mines. You enter in through the front entrance, which
Before we slide into the cave, Key would like to take a little bit of time now that she knows things she didn't know before.
Okay.
And I'd like to inspect the minecart and the area around it for this sand that Mid talks of.
Okay. Well, if you previously had investigated this minecart, and there was dirt inside, and if I remember correctly, you rolled a 1 on your appraisal check. If you'd like to roll another appraisal check, that would be fine.
It's a fresh day, fresh eyes, and I have fresh information. It is time to take some fresh look at the details. Kind of do some Batman stuff right here. So I rolled a 19. 19.
So now that Mid has given you some insight into this dirt, there is probably about 5 to 10 pounds worth of dirt inside this minecart that is brightly colored and has a sort of a distinct smell to it. I would say that you are certain that this could be used as some kind of alchemical reagent.
Okay. So I kind of look to my party members and I'm like, this is what Mid wanted. This is definitely Mid's magic dirt. Do we want to bring Mid his dirt?
I think he can collect it on his own.
As the administrator, I take a little bit of time to pen a letter to Mid, informing him that his dirt is located at this area, and I even draw a little sketch, and I draw the little minecart on there, and I circle it, and put the little arrow, and I kind of, here is where you can collect your dirt. We have recovered it, and therefore have completed your missive, and expect all the, right, you know, like I've got my whole thing about how we have completed your quest as required, because the missive was just, there's a stolen minecart, please investigate. So I provide him all the information to make sure that our missive is completed in full to the T. And then I hand the letter to Gillian Guado, and I'm like, pleased to see that this is mailed properly to Mid at your earliest near convenience. Now that we have done this stuff, now that we've done that,
Crank the crank before going in.
All right.
we still have our
bladders.
Correct?
Yeah.
I'm just making sure that we have our inkstone protection on us. And I believe we have gloves and picks as well.
Great.
Just taking inventory.
Okay.
Such things are important.
So Captain Montigue, as he said, turns the crank a few times on this on the crank that's outside the entrance to the mine, and you can see the electric lanterns that are lining the ceiling that go down into the light into the mine. They light up as you turn this crank, and as you let it go after a good minute or so of turning, they stay on and they're stable. Just for a few minutes. It'll be on for 20 to 30 minutes. So you walk in through the main entrance and you take the first couple of chicanes out into that main first large atrium with the two pillars. There is the sound of the rushing underground river that you had heard before is still rushing, and you walk up the incline over that underground river to the gate to Skwrl Tunnel. And now you have a key to this lock that you didn't have before.
I'd like to take a long moment to just engage my kitty senses and be perceptive, as it were, and just kind of use my perception to try to make sure that there's nothing fishy other than how fishy this gate is. There's no other demons nearby. There's nothing else troubling. I just kind of want to not rush into things without taking some time to surveil what's going on.
21 is fine, and it's all quiet. This mine was abandoned a while back, but there is no sign of any further demons. Whatever you've cleared out appears to still be gone. It is all quiet on the home front at the moment. Just this ominous obelisk of a portcullis that stands before you, with no hinge, no latch, no door, just built into the living rock itself.
Bottoms up.
So you imbibe the potion, and you and all of your gear simultaneously start to feel a little funny, and much like
good stuff.
Alice in Wonderland, the room around you starts to get larger and larger and larger, until you have stabilized at a very small size. And you are now small enough that you can climb through these holes that are in the portcullis and make your way onto the other side of the gate.
With air bladder in hand, knowing our time is limited, Key gathers her teammates and heads forward into the darkness.
Excellent.
Yep.
So you've made your way past the gate, and after just a couple of minutes, your bodies return to their normal sizes, their original sizes. The tunnel itself begins just like any other tunnel, and as you start to make your way down, it is following a kind of non-linear. Well, it's linear, but it's not one-directional. There's a lot of serpentining and snaking and left and rights through here as well. And you're noticing as you are walking through that the concentration of gemstone in this area is larger than anywhere else in the mine. You're seeing sparkles of gems after the first corner, and after the second corner, the gemstones are larger and getting progressively larger as you are walking further and further down this pathway.
Can I appraise one of the gemstones while we're walking past it?
Yeah, you bet.
We going ham today.
This gemstone is not one that you've heard of or seen before, but it has clearly got value. It's the kind of it's got a good make, and as you're walking through, the size of it is impressive. If you as part of the appraisal, you try to remove some of it, but the wall in here is incredibly hard, even with your pick that you have brought with you. Just trying to excavate any of this ore out is a real struggle. Can I get a strength roll from you to excavate some of this ore?
Oh, sure. One of my weakest skills. No, not one of my weakest skills. There is no strength modifier.
Yeah, 13's not going to do it. You're picking away at this wall, and it is not budging. One thing that's of interesting note, everybody's been talking about how people in this chamber get sick almost immediately, that canaries die almost immediately, that you're going to need to bring air bladders. You all feel perfect. All of you feel right as rain.
So, I'd like to recall, out of character, it was explained to us what inkstone is. When we talked with them, they described what inkstone looks like, smells like, how it affects you. So we know what inkstone, like the signs of inkstone. And you have not told us that we see or hear or smell or sense inkstone.
You feel like $1 million.
Wait, do we feel better than we normally do, or
no?
Okay.
You feel,
but there's no effect.
Zero effect.
And there's things that.
So this is not inkstone.
As you are making your way further down the cave, you're walking past stalagmites and stalactites. And as you go further down, they are becoming more and more encapsulated in this ore, which I should mention is a deep purple. Not to make you sing Highway Star in your head. It's a rich, deep purple. And after probably about the fourth or fifth turn, the cave becomes overwhelmingly ore. It is more of this gem than it is the rock walls. It is just piling on and on and on. And around the final corner, it opens up into one large chamber that is completely engulfed in all of this crystal. And at the center, there is one very large, very great crystal that is suspended in air in the center of this chamber.
As in, it's floating freestyle.
As in, it's floating freestyle.
There's a giant.
I would cast detect magic, but a floating stone pretty much spells out magic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I am going to use. I'm going to do two things. I would like to take two actions in turn,
Okay.
or I can do them at the same time, depending on how our GM would like this to done.
Okay.
I am a kitty and I am so curious.
Mm-hmm.
I have two very valuable skills when it comes to situations like this.
Mm-hmm.
I have great knowledge of arcana and I have great knowledge of religion.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to take a moment to rack through all of the training
Mm-hmm.
and schooling and all of these things.
Can
To
I
see-
get from all three of you a check of either knowledge arcana or knowledge history, whichever is the greater of your benefits?
Oh, no.
It's okay.
No. Oh, thank you. Someone rolled greater than 20, so at least someone knows what's going on.
So, Captain Montigue, one of the things that you're the only person who has the kind of open mind to believe what you are seeing, I think is what is happening here. The other two know what they're looking at, but they don't believe it, and you do. In this world, it is known by all creatures, across all races, across all living things, that the planet itself was created by the four crystals of light. There is the crystal of fire, which is located in the city of Karnak, at the base of Mount Gulg, which is a volcano. There is the crystal of wind, which is in the city of Mysidia. There is the crystal of water, which is in the ancient library in the town of Daguerro, behind the great waterfall. And there is the crystal of earth, which is in Castle Corneria, one of the most powerful cities on the planet. Everybody knows what all of this is. This is very, very clearly a fifth crystal. But there's no such thing as a fifth crystal. To imply that there would be a fifth crystal would be as if I were to come to you and say that there is a second sun out in the sky. Everybody knows about the sun, and you wouldn't believe me if I told you there was a second one unless you saw it for yourself. I'm
looking at it and I'm still just not quite buying it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
This is very clearly a fifth crystal. Upon your standing in this chamber, there is also at the base of this crystal a piece of magicite. It is clearly a memstone. And as you go to hold it, it kicks on immediately without your doing anything. This memstone is a recording. Somebody has used the magic in this device to record a message, and it is playing back as soon as you touch it. The person on this message is a monk. He is a human male. Pretty well battle worn and very impressive looking. And the message reads as follows. To the person or people who find this memstone, greetings and long life to you. I am Grandmaster Lee of the Cornerian Monks. I'm sure you have many questions, but the magic in the stone you hold gives us little time. So I will attempt to be concise. The crystal, what stands before you, is much like the 4 crystals you know, but governing a natural force so much greater than the others that it is willed to forever be kept secret from both this world and beyond. It is shrouded by a veil of darkness that keeps forces both good and evil away from it. And such is the power of the veil that those unworthy to be in its presence simply perish without other cause. That you are alive and standing before it tells us the crystal has called upon you to be its protector in some way. I know not how it chooses its guardians or why, nor do I know the fate that will befall you should you heed its call. Know this, however, regardless of the path you take, it is essential that knowledge of this crystal's existence remain in its veil of darkness forever. Should you accept it, see that its light shines brightly. Should it falter, seek out that which looks to snuff out the life of the planet itself and stay it. Such is the charter of we, the warriors of darkness, invisible saviors of Vana'diel. So spoken this 12th of the harvest month in the year 763. That's 78 years ago. From off screen, the person who is recording the memstone speaks to Grandmaster Lee and says, the magic is almost run out. And Lee looks beyond the device to the person holding it and says, it's all right, Noah, I'm done. And then it fades out. And that is the end of our episode. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm glad that we have taken our first steps into this storyline. This is the main quest line. Spoilers. So if you are watching us on YouTube or elsewhere, thank you, and we will see you next time.